Welcome to SMWX, Spread the Fire. I'm Lukhona Mnguni, coming to you live from the Results Operations Center at Gallagher Convention Center with Team SMWX. We are now preoccupied with these big screens behind me that are telling us how many valid votes have already been counted and verified and uploaded. We are now sitting at over 2 million valid votes counted. It's a long way to go. I estimate that we probably have another good 14 million plus votes that still need to come in. So what does the picture behind us tell us? It tells us something, but not everything. However, we've reached some levels of understanding in our politics about, what does it take in terms of thresholds to reach a seat in parliament. I think I can safely say 7 political parties now have seats, and that is the ANC, the DA, the EFF, Mkhonto Sizwe Party, Patriotic Alliance, the Freedom Front Plus, and who else am I forgetting? The IFP. The IFP also has a seat. So 7 political parties are looking very safe in terms of being represented in the National Assembly. The picture in the provinces is even much less, exciting because the flow is very slow. The percentage of voting districts, counted and uploaded is not that great at the moment. Nationally, we have almost 20% of the 23,000 plus voting districts that have now been uploaded. So there's a long way to go. There were 3 ballot papers. The counting has been long. There were a lot of contestations in the voting stations by party agents seeking recounts, and some voting stations are probably only wrapping up the count now in their voting stations. So there's a lot of work that has gone into this election. Long after you've cast your ballot, you then trust the system to protect your vote. And part of that protection of the vote is a combination of party agents who are vigilant, who lose sleep, watching the counting process by the IEC. Election observers that have been part of this election have also been important to make sure that they protect your vote. After your vote has been protected, counting has been done and uploaded into the result slips and has been signed off by the party agents. The boxes are transported by police escort to safe regional offices of the IEC. The current picture that we have is that there is a massive, do you know when I say massive problem in KwaZulu-Natal? The ANC, the IFP, the EFF, I do not think they foresaw what the MK party could do to their prospects. I mean, if you look at the KwaZulu-Natal numbers, the fact that the EFF, a party that got 360,000 votes in 2019, is just sitting above 5,000. There's a bell. That means more votes coming in. We're in the business of votes. We had over 20% of the valid votes cast. Still very small numbers, still tracking nicely. The ANC is yet to hit 1 million votes at this point in time as I'm talking to you, and which means they are below 50% in terms of the valid votes that have already been cast. But let's come back to the EFF. The momentum of the EFF in 2019 seems to have tapered off in this election. However, I'm saying this cautiously at this point in time because the urban votes in KwaZulu-Natal have not come in yet, and that's where the EFF grew the most in 2019. eThekwini, Richards Bay, Pietermaritzburg, Port Shepstone, Kokstad, Umkambatini, those were the nodes of growth, Esikhaweni and so on. So we're watching KZN very closely. Who is MK having for breakfast? Who is MK having for lunch? Who is MK having for supper? And who is the dessert for MK? Those are the questions that we are going to be asking. Is MK going to keep the momentum? They are almost at, wait for it, 101,000 votes. There are just over 101,000 votes as we speak. And guess what? On the provincial ballot, that means the ANC and the IFP put together are short of almost 20,000 votes to match MK. That's a defining story. But will MK, as the urban centers come in, perform well? That is the big question. So in this election, if there is one disruption that is really potentially going on, what I call a possible political massacre, it is the developments in KwaZulu-Natal. Mathematically, if MK keeps this momentum in KwaZulu-Natal, the ANC cannot get over 50% on the national count. Let's talk about that question a little bit. What does it mean if the ANC gets below 50%? What does it mean for its leader, the President Cyril Ramaphosa? What will be an acceptable loss of votes for him to stay and remain as president? What will be an unacceptable loss of votes for him to say, I take responsibility for the performance of my party. We did not manage to do well. Yes, we've been trying to do renewal and unity, but it has not paid off in terms of electoral support. Clearly, there are things that we could have done better, and I'm taking responsibility personally, and I resign as the president of the ANC. Is it even possible? I'm not sure. But at what point does a leader take some responsibility? But some might say it's not his fault. It's the lower structures. It's not his fault. He couldn't have foreseen former President Jacob Zuma going rogue and starting and endorsing a party, but moving from endorsing a party to becoming its leader. So a lot has happened since the 16th of December 2023. And do you know why the 16th of December 2023 is exciting? It's because 15 years before that, on the 15th of December 2008, the Congress of the People was launched as a breakaway of the ANC. Of course, 16th December is significant for MK party because that's the day the military wing of the ANC was actually launched in 1961. Now, these events of 15-year episodes, what is consistent? The Congress of the People broke away from the ANC because those leaders were feeling they are being purged by the new leadership of President Jacob Zuma at the time. Former President Thabo Mbeki was recalled as the president, and guess what? The same former President Jacob Zuma who said the ANC will be in power until Jesus comes, he now is bringing Jesus back, it seems, in this election. That's quite fascinating, that the story of the demise of the ANC is being written literally on the back of the actions of former President Jacob Zuma. That is not a plot twist because it is not fiction, it's actually reality. And that tells us we need to probably understand and dig deep in terms of what does this election really mean for South Africa? What does it really mean for our political landscape? And some people know I have been saying on my Twitter a lot, my ex now, to the future. And I think that future has arrived because that future I've been talking about has been an attempt to say South Africa's political landscape is going to be shaped and reshaped in dramatic ways in this 2024 election. Did I know that it would be MK party? No idea, but I had a feeling many years ago, at least 6 years ago, that we needed to start talking about South Africa beyond the ANC. And guess what? The first time I had that conversation in public was exactly on this channel with my good friend, Dr. Sizwe Mpofu-Walsh, and we were dissecting, are South Africans ready for a life without the ANC, or an ANC that is not the majority party? This is the moment of reckoning, and I think nobody should really be nervous at this point in time. But there must be an appeal to the politicians that in this election, the voters have spoken. Now, the politicians must be responsible enough to center the interests of the voters. They must be responsible enough to negotiate in good faith, to negotiate lasting coalition agreements, to negotiate coalition agreements that are about, championing the rule of law, championing peace and stability, championing development and transformation, particularly of the levers of the economy and other constraining issues that have given us this dire unemployment, this collapse in infrastructure, this corruption that we deal with in this country, and many more other things. So this election is momentous. We might be 2 million votes in, and we've got many more million votes to come. But this election is momentous. It's going to change the political landscape of South Africa. It's going to create new possibilities for opposition politics. It's going to create multiple coalition arrangements. It will create confusion too in some instances, but that's sometimes the beauty of a maturing democracy. I have no doubt, as we are here at the Results Operations Center, the various political leaders will begin to flirt with one another, suss each other out. Can we talk? Are you available? Do you think we can do this together? So it's going to be really a fascinating moment, and I can't wait to keep seeing this result unfold and unfold, and we are just at the tip of it. But I think by Friday midnight there will be a much more clearer picture, particularly also for the provinces. So let's continue to spread the fire of this election. Watch this channel, subscribe, and we do what? We say, aye.